Hello, we are so excited. First of all, I get to hang with people that I adore. Kirk and Emmy Anderson. Hi, you guys.
Hi.
Hello. Hi, Sarah.
Hi. So we wanted to do a little remodel story, and we'll show you some before and afters and things, but we wanted to talk to you about building this amazing apartment cottage in your backyard. So I was looking back and I sold you your house in 2009, right?
That's
Yeah.
right.
So, and it's not a huge house. It's 3 bedroom, 2 bath, little under 13 square feet finished, and then I think you've continued to finish the basement a bit more.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
When we bought it was 2 bed, 1 bath.
Oh, that's right.
And we
That's
added
right.
a bathroom and a bedroom.
Added a bathroom and a bedroom. I remember when you did that fabulous tile work in that new bathroom.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Mhm. And then, you know, you've got 2 kids, and then you thought, okay, we want to maybe, I know we've talked about, do we want to expand the house? Do we want to move?
Yep.
So kind of tell us, like, what was the idea for putting, deciding, okay, we're going to go with the cottage option. We're going to decide to have something detached on our property.
Do you want to take this or shall I?
I think you shall.
Okay. We had lots of ideas and we really like design and building and remodeling. So initially we wanted to expand the house. But we kept running into cost issues. And I think there's a lot of story in between, but ultimately the cottage kind of pays for itself. Whereas if we did a remodel in our home, yes, we'd get to enjoy the square footage, but we'd be...
It's not an investment in the same way. Like
Yes.
when you go to
Right.
sell it,
Yes.
it would be worth more and you'd have more space, but it wouldn't be an investment property
Yes.
into the
Yeah.
future.
For us specifically, our one of our daughters is disabled and she will need lifelong care, and we wanted to have housing options. So a couple different ways we look at this is we could have a caretaker live out here. Kirk and I could move out here and a caretaker lives in the home with Ren, or it becomes a group home. And ultimately we sell it and just make more money. Like whatever option we go down, it felt like it gave us more choices and it cost less.
In the
Well,
long term,
didn't
I think.
cost less, but
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. I think the flexibility is the key part because it is an extra element that we can have, that we can use, that we can have families stay at, that we can have friends, and our other daughters had a sleepover over here, so it's fun to be able to use it for the family and for guests.
it's a very expensive playhouse.
I love it. Yeah, so when you looked at what the options were with the city and the permitting, what were some of the challenges? Like what were some of the restraints to the property and where you could put it, how big it could be, all that kind of stuff? Kind of where did you start with that?
We started a number of years ago and met with an architect that we liked and said, we have this tiny budget, but I'm sure it will cover it. And he shut us down. And we kind of were at a loss. It felt too overwhelming. I didn't know how to navigate it. So I just kind of lurked around in cottage groups and saw what other people were doing. And I was kind of waiting for the zoning changes to happen because this was pre-2018.
With the MHA and HALA and
Yes.
passes and all that.
So at that time, I think the square footage max was 800 square feet.
Yeah.
And then it's moved to 1,000. But initially, our idea was just to have like a studio, 1-story, fully accessible cottage.
Yeah, that Ren could possibly, it could be
Exactly.
Yeah.
flex. Yeah.
Yeah. But it really felt like I can't figure out how to do this. And we kind of just stopped and waited. And then a man named Shannon Lowe came out of nowhere and wanted to create a cottage company that took some of the permitting steps, the financing steps, out of my hands, or at least he made it easy for me.
Like streamlining the process.
Thank you.
That then he could out of the box say, now I can democratize this to make, you could make one and you could make one and you could make
Yes.
one. Yeah.
Yep.
So he handled all the permitting. We didn't have to do it.
Amazing.
and he connected us with 3 financing options where we got to choose which one made the most sense for us. 3 different institutions who dealt specifically in backyard cottages. Because we reached out to lenders, and a lot of them didn't really
Have-
know. It wasn't their
Having
specialty.
instruments to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And I didn't know, maybe I didn't know the right things to say, but it didn't go anywhere. So, so they handled the permitting, they hired the builder, they got us the fixed cost, and then it felt easy. And I'm like, how can we not do this?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that we were probably so early on in the adoption of the new rules for DADUs that we were one of the first people to do it and sort of learn the process. And I think now it's a lot more broad. I read something where the amount of DADUs has kind of exploded in the Seattle area.
Yeah.
Right? So I
Yeah.
think that there are going to be more kind of project management style companies that do just that, like look at the permitting, get you set up with a builder, and they may be all in-house.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's amazing. And when you were planning this, I know you worked with an architect. What was the architect's name? Robert
Hutchinson
Hutchinson
designed, yeah.
Designed.
6
Did you get to go up on, because I'm realizing as we're up here that you now have a view of the city from up here. Did you get up on a ladder and go, okay, what's the height? What are we going to be seeing? What's the light quality going to be like?
We did. I went
We
up
put
on
a
the roof.
ladder up to our house. I'll send you some of the photos.
Okay, good.
We're
Yeah,
like,
I
this
did.
is what we're going to see.
Yeah, we did. We went up on the roof,
Yeah.
looked at it. We also wanted to see like what would it look like in terms of like the set into the neighborhood. How much would it stick up? Like would it impact other people's views?
Yeah.
It seemed like it seemed like the siting was the right spot for it in terms of light, views, and being kind of a good fit in the property itself.
Yeah, and not obstructing everything. And
Yeah, for
being
sure.
a behemoth in the neighborhood.
Yeah, because there are other places that do, professional developers that tear down a house and they put in 8 of these things and
Yeah.
it blocks it's lot line, it goes right up to the line and
Yeah.
it's totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I know when any kind of building happens, you're building it, and then you're making choices as you go. Like that's going to be the expense if we add that, and that's going to be so sort of paring down and figuring, okay, what are the things we have to have?
Yes.
And it's gorgeous, so I can see. How did you make some of those decisions? Was it just sort of piece by piece being shown? Okay, here's now what this is actually costing. What's the next decision to make?
It kind of came in stages, right? Like we looked at the architecture plans, we looked at what would work well for here in terms of the design, 1-story, 2-story, and then it kind of went more detailed from there in terms of finishes and systems. Like we've got the mini split, is that what it's called? Right? So we've got the mini split, which was an incremental cost, but worth it. Global climate change and all that. But I do think that there are things that you probably have to consider that are necessary if you want to rent it out, but are like nice to haves at the same time. So we thought that the AC unit was
Because there's
a
so
good
much
one.
light up here that in the summer,
Yeah.
Really hot, yeah.
I can see that it being really hot. And was it a whole different thing when you went, oh, this is gonna be 2 stories?
Yes. So, and we
Yes.
we thought it was going to be 1 story,
Right.
and even at 1 story, the cost was quite high. But to go up to 2 stories was about $25,000 more. And we're like,
Wow.
why would we not? Because if it's 1 story, it's a 1-bedroom,
Right.
or even I think it was a studio, like a large studio. And I thought once we saw the cost difference, and I mean, going up just. I have
Light.
never lived in a house with 2 stories before.
Really?
I am primarily an apartment dweller.
Yeah.
For most of my life, and our house was 1 story, so
Yeah.
it just felt exciting to even have stairs.
We have stairs. We have stairs.
We have stairs that go up.
Stairs all the time, just singing songs. It's great. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So one of the things, now that it's built, what are some of the surprises that you didn't realize you'd be using it for? I know you Airbnb it. It's on Airbnb. You can rent it out.
Come chat with us.
I know you have such a beautiful family, and you call yourselves the Team We.
Yes.
Because I get your Christmas cards, and you're my friends. But So you call this the Wee Cottage or Cottage Wee?
Shea Wee.
Shea Wee. Thank you.
W-E-E, because our house is Shea Wee, W-E.
Shea Wee, W-E, and
Yeah.
then this is Shea Wee, 2 E's
The
in the
little
Wee.
Shea, yeah.
The little Shea. I love it. So you knew you'd be probably renting it. You
Yeah.
knew that it was going to be building for the future and what's happening with the kids and
Yes.
things. But how have you sort of found it in real life? And you've had it for a year. It's been up and running for
Yes.
yourselves, right?
Yes. Well, I think coming out here and working is quite lovely.
Just that you're using it more as like an office or
Yeah.
just a space to be.
When Kirk was working from home more, we have a dog who barks a lot, and it's very
Taco.
nice to Taco. It's very nice to come out here and know that the dog isn't going to start barking. And I just find it peaceful. So I think it's just a pleasant place to be, and it differentiates the space. So while we didn't have it during COVID when we were all home all the time, I wish we did, because it would have been so nice to have a different place to go to get your headspace in a
Yeah.
I'm working now.
Yeah.
Plus now it's like it is a business, right? It's a little mini business that you're running. So you're, playing concierge to people that are visiting Seattle, and
You flip it yourself and clean it in between and manage the Airbnb.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I really like doing that. And I like giving people a really nice experience.
I liked it when one of our guests came home. They had come to see like the Monsters of Rock tour or whatever, the hard rock show at one of the stadiums downtown. They came back super late, and they, for whatever reason, couldn't get the front door open, and they were out here just like struggling with the key code in the front door. And I was like, I'll just go help them. They're like, hey, thanks so much. And I was like, go ahead. And they kind of like stumbled their way. It was very sweet. Like, kids have fun.
Yeah. Door service.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
Yeah,
Door
it's
service.
actually really cool to meet some of the people that come visit from wherever, from all over, and they're appreciative of having a place that's, I think, close to things in town. The
Walk through a light
train.
rail,
Yeah,
yeah.
all that, and I think it's a nice central spot for people to visit Seattle.
And I
it's
mean,
fun
if I decided that we all have had Airbnb experiences, many
Yeah.
of us, and VRBO and things. And you think, is it going to be as nice as the pic in what if the thing? And I
Right.
mean, if I walked into this place, we scored. This is
Yeah.
just like it looks. And oh my gosh.
yeah, no letdown, hopefully.
That's
Yeah.
another joke that I always say. I love getting reviews from guests because you don't get a lot of compliments at home from your kids.
Right.
But I can go and read the reviews, and I'm like, people love me.
Validation.
I love people love me. We did a good job.
Yeah, it'd be cool if they could also see us parent. They'd be like, you guys are great parents too.
Yeah, can you leave a parental review?
Yeah,
That'd be
totally.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leave a card. Yeah.
It's great. So I
Yeah.
could see you come up and do a movie night of here if you want. You said there was a sleepover. That's great.
Yeah, there was a sleepover. The girls afterwards were like, this would be a great place for us to live. Perfect for two of us. We can pay $10 a rent a month.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
$10 a
Yeah.
month.
$10 a month. Yeah, you're like, that wasn't really what we did to pencil it, but okay. Did you find, so I grew up in Hawaii and, we had, we built after the last hurricane in 91, my family built these 2 Ohana houses. There were 2 stories attached to the carport, but both of my sets of grandparents lived in them till they passed on. My parents both lived in the upstairs one. My other family my brother and sister-in-law took the main house. So, and in Hawaii, because of the cost of living, a lot of people have these Ohana houses or Hanai houses. And I'm seeing that in Seattle, and I'm meeting with so many different clients that, when I sold you this house, it was a lot different price point than
Right.
the houses
Yes.
cost now. And so I'm, as people want their kids to remain in the city that they grew up in, and
Yep.
as people want to be supporting, if you have kids that have disabilities and want to be supporting their kids, it is something that I see in Hawaii with the cost of living. And here, when people are saying, what do you think? I'm like, if you have children that you want to be in the city, it isn't a bad idea to have this group house family, compound idea. So Paul and I, my husband and I were talking about doing one in our yard. And when I was designing, because I was like thinking, well, maybe we will be living here.
Yeah.
I was designing for myself in the future. We ended up deciding not to build it, but I was like, well, it's like I was building my own house. So were you doing that a little bit when you were designing? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, because if we're gonna live here in 15 years, 20 years, like
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well,
I mean,
that's what
in a way, it's a dream. You get to build a house.
yeah,
You don't have to buy the land, right?
yeah,
And I think we always wanted to build a house, and we got to. So we built it for what we would want, even if we never end up living here.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You get to do a lot of the things on a clean slate that you can't do on an older house, because our house is 80 years old
Yeah.
now, and it's like you can't change the foundation, can't change a lot of the structure, but here it's wide open and you can kind of have more play with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to start from scratch. How cool. How
Yeah,
cool.
super fun.
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you letting us in and letting us take a peek. And people, I get this a lot. And so just wanting to let people know that it's possible and that real smart humans who just have some thoughts and dreams and ideas can make it happen.
Yes, absolutely. And if you have any clients that want to chat with somebody who's done it, send them our way.
Great. Love
Yeah.
it. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thanks.
Kurt and Emmy.
Thank you.